Welcome to the fastest growing radio audience in America. From the city of entertainment, you are listening to Las Vegas Backstage Talk, the only show that gets personal with the stars. Brought to you by Dr. Gary Lee from Esthetic in Henderson, Nevada. Dr. Gary Lee specializes in Botox and fillers at affordable prices and always offers free consultations. Welcome to Las Vegas Backstage Talk with your host, comic Michele LaFong.
Hey, and we have a show for you tonight. Singer-actress Dina Martin, daughter of Dean Martin, is headlining at the South Point Showroom Friday and Saturday, June 22nd and 23rd. And we're going to be talking to her. Last time she was here, she was talking to us about her little stint at the Regis Gallery, where a statue was made of Dean Martin and a bronze statue. And she was signing them, and there's only 300 to go around. And I'm not going to tell you how much they cost because, well, all you know is I don't have one. Okay, but it's a fantastic statue, by the way, and they are a great investment, and she's going to be talking about that when she comes on. But first, we have comedian, filmmaker John Bizzare, and he's been on The Tonight Show and The Drew Carey Show and many other shows, Comedy Central. It goes on and on and on. And, of course, he was on The Tonight Show with Jay Leno, as I said. And,
no, it was Jack Parr, actually.
Jack Parr, yes. Yeah. You're not allowed to interrupt during an intro, just so you know. You know, comics do not know how to behave. They just don't, and that's why they're so bad. He will be playing at the Orleans, by the way, at Big Al's Comedy Club, June 13th through 17th at 8 p.m., and you don't want to miss him. Okay, you can talk now, John Bizzare.
I have nothing more to say.
You have nothing more to say. I doubt that. I also want to talk about this new video you have called Finding the Funny, a John Bizzare film. Yes, I love that. A John Bizzare film, and it's got all these celebrities on it, and I noticed I'm not on that cover, and I know that...
Oh, I must have given you a bad copy.
Yes, I can assure you it's a bad copy, because if I'm not on the cover, that's a problem. But John, congratulations. This was just released, this DVD, and how do people get this?
They can get it on findingthefunnymovie.com, and it'll also be on Amazon. It might be on there now, but it should be on the next couple of days. We'll put it on Amazon also. We were originally going to sell it to a couple of different networks, and then a few things happened that made me go, no, let's just sell it ourselves on the internet. I really believe the world is flat now, so we can...
I do too.
We don't really need huge corporations to sell our stuff anymore. We can sell our own
I agree
stuff.
with
You
that.
just have to be internet savvy to make it happen.
And we know that you are internet savvy.
That's being kind. I think Don Barnhart's a little more savvy than I am.
Now, Don Barnhart is, I see his name here, Don Barnhart.
And his big kisser.
Yeah, Don Hart, isn't it Don Barnhart Jr.?
It is.
So how come it says Don Barnhart?
I don't know the answer to that.
Those corporations, you should have went with the corporations.
I originally put Junior on there, and then he took it off. For some things, he puts Junior on, and then he takes it off on other things. I don't know what.
And it's funny because I got a call from Don Barnhart, and it wasn't Junior, and I said, "Yeah, I know who you are," and he goes, "No, I'm Don Barnhart, his father." I'm like, "Oh, please." So now this is very confusing.
Right.
Yes, the Don Barnhart.
Except that it's his face. It's definitely, you can see his.
Well, I don't know what his father looks like.
He kind of looks like him, actually.
Yeah,
he really does.
Mean, that's what I'm saying. So now last time you were here, John, because you're a popular guest here on Las Vegas Backstage Talk. The last time you were here, you were working on this.
Right.
You were finishing it up,
right.
Finding the Funny. How long did this DVD take you to actually make all in total?
Probably about 6 to 8 months, somewhere in there. I don't know what it was, because there were some things we had to film, but what it is basically is it follows a comedy class through 6 weeks, and you get to see these guys. Some of them have never taken a comedy class before, and you get to follow them through the 6 weeks. And at the end of the 6 weeks, they have a showcase, and then they show off what they've learned in those 6 weeks. Some of them are kind of open micer guys. Some of them have never done comedy before. And then through the course of the film, there are a lot of interviews with like Louis Anderson, Brad Garrett, Marty Allen, Wendy Liebman, Andy Kindler, a bunch of guys like that.
And what are those interviews about?
About how they started in comedy and what their opinions are about taking comedy classes or just jumping into it, just jumping into the fray. And just
so
learn.
This is a big debate, apparently.
Yeah, it was.
Do you take a class? Do you not take a class?
That's right.
Do you keep procrastinating? What do I do? What do I do?
That's
do I
right.
keep smoking that weed and then decide? I mean, because I think everything I write down is funny. Ha, ha, ha. I mean, so seriously, this is a big debate that you decided that it needs to have a DVD storyline.
I think so,
yes, yeah. Last time we spoke, I thought it was very interesting, frankly.
It's because I really don't buy the concept of teaching comedy. I really, and that's why
I don't know how you can't buy that concept.
To me,
it's amazing that you can't make someone funny, but you can teach comedy.
Yeah, that's right. And but then there are people I think Wendy Liebman's one of them that we interview, and she feels the other way. Like you can teach someone to be a comedian, but or you can teach someone to be funny. Like you can teach them things come in threes and words with a K are funny, but you can't teach them to be a comedian because you have to be on stage every night to learn how to do that. So she feels kind of the opposite.
Because you got to be late everywhere you go, and that's what I'm thinking. You got to be irresponsible. You got to
get up at noon.
Yeah. I mean, so tell me the truth, John. I mean, we started out together. How many years ago? 27 years ago?
At least 5 to 6 years ago.
Yeah, right. Tell the truth. What is your real opinion of most comics?
Wow.
You don't have to name names.
Wow, I wish
anything.
I could. I don't even know how to answer a question. What do I think of most comics?
Most comics in general. What happens to them?
Well, we're outside of the normal way of thinking to begin with. You don't become a comedian because you think like everyone else. You become a comedian because you have some weird slant on life. And then the freedom of being a comedian, that's what leads you into all those other aberrant ways of living.
Right. Yes. And talking about aberrant. Why don't you talk about your little stint in Amsterdam that you decided to pick up and move overnight, and you decided that this would be a much better lifestyle for you, leaving comedy behind. This is what I found out when I called John Bizzare one day many years ago, and then told, yeah, he did the Tonight Show already, and he's over it. He's over the comedy thing. Now he's in Amsterdam picking up some great women and, doing, he's back to nature in Amsterdam. What the heck?
I don't know if it was nature I was back to, but, I was doing a lot of commercials. I was like hitting. This was like it was like 93, 94. I was really like in LA and doing all kinds of commercials and everything. And but I just felt like this horrible sellout. I was on TV all the time. And I was like, look at this. I will sell anything. What kind of a cheap hooker am I? I just felt so horrible.
So you went to Amsterdam to see how you compared to other cheap hookers.
See, that's why you're a comedian. I didn't even find that thread, and you jumped right on it. I just needed to, what I needed, as weird as this sounds, my favorite book was The Razor's Edge, and I liked at the end of the book, Larry Darrell, he becomes a cab driver. After everything, he goes to India, he goes to all these places, and at the end of the book, he becomes a cab driver because he can own his own cab, and he can do what he wants, and he can read all the books he wants, and he can live this free life and just be a cab driver to make money for food and stuff like that.
So you had to beat him because you weren't even a cab driver. Why don't you tell everybody exactly what John Bizzare was doing in Amsterdam?
Well, I built a rickshaw. I built really a pedicab, a three-wheel bicycle with a box and a chair. And a cover, and I had my hair. I had a beard, like a big red beard, like down to here.
Wow!
And my hair was about as long as yours. In the
oh
back.
My goodness!
And I learned a little Dutch so I could speak with the locals. And then I was a rickshaw driver for 2 years. I just kind of drove around. And
So the cab thing, you had to go one up, right? The
to-
cab thing just was too mundane for you.
Yeah, and my family was not really happy about it, and then a lot of my agent, obviously, other people were like, "What do you?" And
Omnipop was your agent at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I could just imagine you were a big paycheck to them.
Yeah, but they just had Andy Kindler come in, and then they got other guys right then, so they were fine money wise. But I just kind of wanted to do that, and it felt. And even though now, when I look back, it really did kill my career.
What did you expect it to do?
Well,
I saw you.
Well, I was expecting never to come back. I didn't think I was going to come back. I thought that was it. I thought I was going to go live this life, and it was going to bring me. I didn't.
Wow.
I didn't think I was.
What about Christmas? Did you visit your family
I did.
at least on Christmas?
I did.
You did. So
I
when
did.
you came back, wasn't it sort of culture shock?
Yes.
That-
You know, it was really weird. When my sister picked me up at the airport after I'd been there about a year, I hadn't been in a car in a year. I'd only been on my bicycle and walking. I hadn't been in a vehicle. And when I got back, my sister picked me up at the airport. I got in the car and I go, "Can you slow down?" She goes, "John, this is 45 miles an hour." But it felt like we were going 90. But
Your
yeah,
family must have lost it.
my mom was really unhappy with me. Because I was really taken off at that point, and it was really she was But in retrospect, I have to say those are still probably the best 2 years of my life.
Oh, come on, John.
Those are the best. I was the most free. I was the most everything that I ever wanted to do. I was like a kid. I had no responsibilities. I lived this unbelievable
That's what
life.
it sounds like.
Yeah.
You really wanted to just be a kid.
Yeah,
You just
I was like a
wanted to just,
10-year-old
like,
with my little
exactly.
bike, and I was a child. I was a 32-year-old child.
There's another word for that, a man. But they're not all 32. So okay. So now, do you have any need to want to sow any wild oats anymore?
Oh, you kidding me? That's all I did from like 20 to 45.
So did you get it out of your system?
Oh yeah, I'm married. I found the right woman late in life. I got really lucky late in life.
And you married a comic.
I married a comic.
Jeez. I know you used to date comics too. I
Yeah.
remember that. Yeah. And none of them were anything like the other ones. There was no type. I remember
really funny.
because you know what? The women in the ladies' room would talking. Ooh, hot John Bizzare. Oh,
What?
Oh yeah,
No,
they all.
there's
Oh
no
sure
way.
they
There's
did.
no
yes,
way
they
that
did.
happened.
Do you know that the women would hang out in the ladies' room in the comedy clubs? Picking up comics.
I did know that.
Yeah,
yeah.
so you did know that.
Yeah.
Well, that's good that you knew that.
That's funny.
And well, of course, we got so much more to talk to John Bizzare about, but we're taking a quick break, and we will be right back. Don't go anywhere, and don't forget, we got Dina Martin coming up on the second half of the show. Hurry back! Don't go.
Don't go away. Stay tuned for more of Las Vegas Backstage Talk with your host, comic Michele LaFong. Welcome back, and here's more of Las Vegas Backstage Talk with your host, comic Michele LaFong.
Hey, and we are back having so much fun talking to John Bizzare, and he is bizarre in his own way, that's for sure. And also, don't forget, in the latter half of the show, we got singer-actress Dina Martin, daughter of Dean Martin, and she's headlining the South Point Showroom Friday and Saturday, June 22nd and 23rd, and you don't want to miss it. I saw her perform already. She's fantastic. So back to you, John. Okay, so we were talking about your DVD again because it is all about comics and comedy, and you said you're really proud of this.
I am proud of it. Yeah, it came out I mean, I had an idea. The genesis of the idea was I really don't think you can teach comedy. I don't think you can teach stand-up. I think you have to get up there and just take it night after night, and then you get better that way. So
take it.
Yeah,
that's interesting that you say that. Take it.
Yeah, because the audience
you're
will.
going to get punished.
You are getting punished.
You are getting punishment. So you mean to tell me, John? Okay, in Finding the Funny, I'm giving you a plug here. A John Bizzare film Okay, and I must say, Don Barnhart in,
Yeah.
because I always read things backwards. So that,
okay.
so it's Don Barnhart in Finding the Funny, a John Bizzare film. And if you go to Las Vegas Backstage Talk, we have a link where you can, order this. And it'll also be available on Amazon.com.
That's right, and FindingTheFunnyMovie.com.
Yes, okay. So now, what the hell were we talking about?
Finding the Funny.
Yes. So you were saying it's like a punishment. You feel like the punishment is part of what teaches you.
Yeah.
Now, I have to ask you, the first time, how long did it take you when you were on stage till you bombed?
The second night.
I find that hard to believe.
Yeah. Oh, no, I really chewed it the second night. I mean, the first night, I had some friends there. And then the second night, it was just me alone. And I just went down hard.
Really?
And then it was just kind of like.
Where were you? Where were you?
Richard M. Dixon's
no
White
way.
House. And, yeah.
That's where we started together.
That's right.
At Richard M. Dixon's. Okay.
Do you remember the guy that used to dress up like Wendy O. Williams? And he would bring the TV set in.
Of course.
And he would use a sledgehammer. And he would smash. Every week he came in with a TV set. We're like, where are you getting these TV sets?
That is so funny.
And he would go to a junkyard and get a TV, and he would smash it every week.
That is commitment. Okay,
Yeah.
so wait a minute. So you remember the moment where you bit it hard?
It was the second night. Yeah, it was really horrible.
What happened?
I wasn't funny. I don't
I
even
don't
on stage.
believe that.
That's so true. I just was not funny. I was, you don't have those. That timing, that rhythm that an audience can fall into and forget about themselves. And you're just a guy who's, hey, I'm trying to be funny. And they sense it. I think of an audience as a pack of wild dogs. They sense fear. They sense everything. And the minute that you show any kind of fear, they will eat your throat just like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's some analogy. I'll never look at stage the same way again, John.
That help. When I think of it that way, it helps me.
That's
I'm
very
much more comfortable on stage because I know who they are.
So now, after you made this video, Finding the Funny, do you think that had you had classes that it would have made you bomb later than the second time?
The assumption is I would have bombed anyway.
Well, everybody bombs eventually.
Right, of course.
Eventually,
right.
It's going to happen.
Sure.
So do you think it would have made that? So what was your mistake? What was your mistake?
As the second night?
Yes, the second
because
night.
I wasn't experienced. It's not really a mistake.
Did you know what you were going to talk about?
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that because I have no experience on stage, it doesn't mean that I know what's going to work and what isn't going to work. Like right now, I can think of something and write it down and go, oh, that might be funny, and I'll have a sense of that it might be funny. But when you're starting out, you're thinking, oh, this is hilarious. Not
Absolutely.
realizing the audience is not going to think it's funny at all.
Okay, so now I'm going to play devil's advocate, okay? Because I actually have been coaching comedy for many years. My answer to you is I could have prolonged that bomb on you.
But how?
Because I would have told you, always have a plan B. And if you start going in the crapper, get in the moment and deal with what's going on at that moment. In that moment, don't keep beating a dead horse.
Okay.
Would that have helped?
Yes.
Well, there you go.
Well, there we go. That was the debate.
Video.
Yeah, that was the debate. The debate was I didn't believe that you could teach comedy, and Barnhart was like, well, why don't you come film a show, film a class? So I did for 6 weeks.
Oh, so now you're a believer.
I wouldn't say I'm a believer.
Oh, come on, John.
No, but I would say that it's like anything. It's like religions. I'm not a religious guy, but you can take good things from each of these religions and use them to become a better person. I think it's the same thing with comedy. It's like you can take different pieces of information and use all of those bits to collect them to become a better comedian. But I'm not a believer like you must take a comedy class. No, you don't. I still think you can go up knowing nothing, and within a few, whatever amount of time, you can become a funny comedian if you're funny.
Do you know it took me 3 months till I bombed?
Really?
Oh, but when
so
I
what
did,
happened when you did?
It was devastating. I was devastating. Well, believe it or not, I was on after a show had already ended. Well, that's something I would have learned in a comedy class. Never agree to do that. And once the show is over, it's over. And don't let them announce, now Michele LaFong.
Yeah.
Ladies, and as people are getting up and leaving.
Oh, that's horrible.
And I had no concept. to be honest with you, I was too focused on my material and what I was going to be doing to even think that was a factor.
Right.
It never occurred to me that would be an issue. I just figured everybody's going to, it never occurred to me that they're going to get up and leave when the show's over.
Right.
Just,
yeah. Why would you?
I mean?
Why would you? Because you're only thinking about you.
Yes, I'm not thinking ahead.
Right,
You know
yeah.
what I mean? It never occurred
That's so
to
funny.
me. And then I also was not prepared for my first heckle. And my first heckle was from Bobby Woods, a comedian.
Oh, my God.
A professional comedian
Yeah.
who was bombed out of his mind. And he started heckling me.
Oh, my God.
And then I made the bigger mistake of inviting him to take my mic.
Wow.
Never, ever,
Wow.
people, if you're listening out there, am I right, John?
Yes.
I don't care whether it's a professional or non-professional. Never invite someone to take your mic.
Right.
Because they will.
I was working with a comic not too long ago, and he brought this older woman on stage because she was dying to tell a joke. So he brings her up there, and she's like this old Italian lady, and he's holding the mic, but she keeps grabbing it like she
Of
give me,
course.
and he goes, no, I hold the mic. You tell the joke, because the mic is the power.
It's the power.
That's right.
It starts with a P, and it's the you know what? Yes, it is, and yes, that's where all the control lies. But
That's
you're
right.
absolutely right. But again, a comedy class would have taught me.
Sure.
You know, because now, of course, that's the first thing I teach is don't do that.
There's a point in the film where it was Tracy Skeen. She's talking about. She goes, "It's really just a booster class. It's almost like when you take a class, it's almost like Head Start for comedians, like a pre-kindergarten for comedians. It gives you a good primer." And with a lot of general rules that you can remember. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
And so we have to go, but I just want to plug John Bizzare. He's going to be at Big Al's Comedy Club June 13th through 17th at 8 p.m. You're fantastic. We want you back.
Thank you so much.
And of course, we always have tons to talk about. Finding the funny. Oh, I'm sorry. Don Barnhart and Finding the Funny, a John Bizzare film. And of course, stay tuned for Dina Martin, who is performing at the South Point Showroom Friday and Saturday, June 22nd and 23rd. Don't go anywhere, people. You don't want to miss this. Trust me. It's a personal interview.
Don't go away. Stay tuned for more of Las Vegas Backstage Talk with your host, comic Michele LaFong.